Madi.
And I'm Megan.
Hello. Welcome back to another episode of
The Fuzzy Pod.
It is time for another Fuzzy Pod rewatch. Today, we are talking all about Freaky Friday.
Woo.
Honestly, this is a movie I'm surprised we didn't do sooner because the movie poster is literally the Fuzzy Pod colors. Their whole branding.
They stole our branding.
is purple and green. Yeah, they stole our branding. We didn't pull from the 2000s at all.
Do you think that was subconscious of us?
Oh,
because we watched that movie so much.
I think it was partially subconscious and also in my mind intentional because the lavender and the lime green was just such a big thing of that era. Because think about the Lizzie McGuire movie.
That's very true.
That was another pairing.
I feel I always think of pink and lime green, but you're right.
Yeah,
lavender and lime green.
Mike Wazowski and his girlfriend Celia.
Yeah, give her name, please. Show some respect to Celia. I definitely remembered her name. Okay.
Googly bear.
Googly bear. Yeah, you're right.
So
it really was the colors of the era. Our age is showing.
But Freaky Friday, Fuzzy Fridays. I'm surprised we haven't done this sooner.
Freaky Fuzzy
Friday. Freaky Fuzzy Fridays. A Freaky Fuzzy Friday.
Title
emphasis on freaky.
Of the podcast episode?
Maybe so. In case you're not familiar, though, with Freaky Friday, we're going to give you a quick little rundown. Maddie, what is Freaky Friday all about?
It is the classic movie trope of switching bodies. We have a mom and a daughter who just don't see eye to eye. And so what is the solution? Let's walk in each other's shoes for 24 hours.
And always the longest 24 hours ever, may I add? How do they do 10 things in one day?
Yes, no
one has the time.
So much in such a short amount of time. But this 2003 version of Freaky Friday stars Jamie Lee Curtis, icon, Lindsay Lohan, another icon, and most recently that we discussed our heartthrob Chad Michael Murray.
Yes.
With the most atrocious hair, might I add.
Yeah, we touched on that a little bit.
We did. It wasn't his best look. I feel I should just get it out of the way. The hair wasn't the problem as much as the little soul patch situation.
It's the combo. It was the combo hair with the soul patch in this movie.
I will say I was remembering his hair much greasier, and it wasn't as greasy as I remembered.
That's good to hear.
I was less disappointed, you know, when I saw him, but I could not imagine kissing that little soul patch.
Just a singleton.
Just a few little hairs.
Oh, speaking of kissing, we'll get into that in a second.
There's so much to discuss.
So let's go ahead and hop right in. Okay, so the movie starts off with the cutest montage ever, may I say.
So cute.
It's just photos of moms and their daughters happy together by the Turtles is playing, and it's such a sweet moment. Imagine me and you. I think about it. It actually includes images of Jamie Lee Curtis with her real life kid.
So sweet.
Because they didn't, instead of photoshopping her and Lindsay Lohan as a kid together, I guess they were they look similar enough. We'll just tie it into the story here.
Yeah, it works.
Then we cut to a morning at the Coleman's house, and it switches to the Simple Plan version of Happy Together. So we're okay, we got a little pop punk going on here. A little more upbeat. Which we just start off so strong with the music in this movie.
The music. This movie is so...
Yes.
The music is just so fun.
It's so fun. It's so well done. And fun fact, one of the only soundtracks from my childhood that I held on to. I have the most random items from my childhood, and for some reason, one of those is the Freaky Friday soundtrack.
Like a CD?
Like a CD.
Oh, wow. A compact disc?
A compact disc, if you will. I still have the original CD. I looked it up on eBay because I was does anyone still have these and sell them? They go for $4. So... You know.
Wow. She said, this is my retirement.
It's an investment that I made 20 years ago.
Oh my gosh. That's probably how much did you pay for it? Have you, the
I
ROI
probably didn't even
is
buy it.
negative.
Our parents probably bought it for us, so. 0. So honestly, here, I made $4 already.
Girl math.
I've already seen a return on that investment. Okay. So as we get a glimpse into a morning at the Coleman house, we also get a good idea of the leads and their personalities.
They're dynamic.
They're dynamic.
We see they're
together.
dynamic for the first time.
So we see, Tess Coleman, who's
Mama Coleman.
Mama Coleman. She's meditating in the morning.
Dr. Coleman.
Dr. Coleman.
Excuse me. So
Dr.
disrespectful.
Tess Coleman.
Dr. Tess Coleman
is meditating in the morning. Has like 8 different phones and organizers. Like, she just seems like a mama that's on it, and she's working hard.
Works hard for that money.
And she's trying to get, her teenage daughter, Anna Coleman, played by Lindsay Lohan, to wake up. And it seems like, her room's a little more disorganized compared to Mom's. She's sleeping in. Mom's trying to get her to wake up. And
she's
get
to school.
Quite literally trying to physically remove her from the bed. This scene is always so funny to me. She grabs her daughter by the ankles.
Pulls.
While her daughter is hanging on to the headboard poles with both hands.
Honestly, fair. Me this morning.
Trying to get ready to come over here. Ted's like, okay.
I just thought it was so funny though, because she like keeps going back and she's like, wake up, wake up. And then like she doesn't wake up and then she goes, fine. And like it's like the like pulls the sheet back and just like starts grabbing her and you're just like, this is interesting.
Like, I've never been a mom, but
this is so gross. But I was like, because you were just seeing her grab her feet, and I was like, this. I don't know if it was actually Lindsay Lohan, but I was like, this person's feet are disgusting.
Oh, were
the
they?
bottom of their feet were like black.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're probably walking around barefoot on set all day. I'm assuming.
And I was like, what a weird detail for me to notice. But I think like rewatching for like the purposes of us to like discuss, like I like notice like more like little details that I like don't think about normally. And I was like, they couldn't have wiped her feet down? Gross.
Someone get a wipey. A little wet one on there. Clean it up. So she finally, she's like trying to get her daughter. She's like, whatever, I give up. And the daughter's like, what? I'm ready. And then
that
Lindsay,
transition of her like being like, wake up. And she like opens the door and she's like, I'm ready. And I'm like,
she's like, I've been ready this whole time. So it's just definitely the classic like teenage angst versus the mom who seems to have it all together. And then you also have a little instigating brother in the mix, a younger brother, Harry, who just seems to poke at his sister Anna. We have to also bring attention to the fact that Lindsay Lohan's character was rocking some chunky highlights.
Chunky highlights, the fit, the belt.
She wanted you to know she played guitar, okay? She had a shirt with a guitar embroidered on it.
Guitar pick necklace.
Yeah, a little choker with a guitar pick.
I don't know if you noticed, but the jacket she was wearing also had a guitar pick on the sleeve.
Yeah, the styling department really said she plays guitar.
He plays guitars, he fixes cars,
and he can sing. Name that movie. First of all, like, you see the little brother is like bothering her on the way to school. He's poking, he's prodding, and she finally like turns around and is like, hey, cut it out, and reacts. And the mom's like, hey, why are you acting like that towards your brother? The mom had no idea that Harry was just like, poke, instigating. And she's like, whatever, I just got to get to school.
Before we jump into Anna going to school, I just have one little comment because they like kind of reference it throughout the whole like movie, which is this conversation that Anna and Tess have in the car where Anna's like, Mom, I just want to get like one little stud, which is like a cartilage piercing that she's like referring to.
Which I have one.
Yeah, we both have them. And she goes, I don't need my maid of honor looking like a harlot.
A harlot!
And I was like, not the mom calling her daughter a harlot for wanting such an innocent piercing.
She's like, I just want like a little piercing right here. So I guess me and Maddie are harlots.
So I guess we're harlots is what I learned from this movie. Okay, but anyway, so we pull up to school then.
So Anna gets to school and Tess, her mom, sees one of her old childhood friends, Stacy.
The mean girl of the early 2000s.
This actress played the mean girl in like every single movie. She was the villain.
Or someone who looked like her.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure she was the villain in Cinderella Story too.
Uh-huh. I'm pretty sure it's the same actress.
That's so funny. So Stacy Hinkhouse?
Yeah, I think it's like Hinkhouse.
the mom is like, sees her and is like, hi, Stacy. And she goes, oh, Anna, why aren't you friends with Stacy anymore? And she's like, Mom, she doesn't like me. And she's like,
Stacy's a bully, Mom.
She's like, that's not true. So it's just seeming like
such a sweet girl.
Tess is like not really like wanting to hear Anna's perspective.
She's
or, like,
not buying anything her daughter is saying.
No, she doesn't really listen.
Doesn't trust her,
Which doesn't make sense because I can't remember if we said this or not. Tess Coleman is a therapist. That's why she's a doctor. She's a psychologist. So it seems like she does a very good job at listening to her patients, but maybe not so much to her daughter.
Which is why we need the old switcheroo.
That's why we need the switcheroo. It needs to happen, okay?
Sometimes it's the only answer.
So she gets to school and she finds herself in trouble a lot at school, but seemingly not her fault.
It's not her fault. She can't help it.
She's in PE at one point and go back to Stacy, they're playing volleyball.
Mm-hmm.
And Stacy just keeps hitting the ball like at Anna. Like,
so rude.
And like the PE teacher is not calling it out at all.
Yeah, PE teacher saying nothing.
And it's like she keeps getting hit over and over and she's like, all right, I'm tired of this. It's my turn to serve. I'm going to mess up my serve and accidentally hit Stacy in the back of the head. And who calls it out? The coach right away. So she ends up going
off to detention.
For
the first time.
For the first time.
In this movie, but there's multiple times.
So many more times. And it seems like it's not her first time that she's been to detention. No, because she pulls out a sandwich and exchanges it with the teacher in charge.
Yeah, she's like bartering with the teacher that's like over the detention. And I'm like, what's happening? Like, why are they like trading sandwiches?
And she was like, hey, Anna. And she's like, hey, what's up? It seems like I'm here a lot because we're familiar enough to exchange sandwiches.
I thought it was so funny too, like the humiliation aspect of like having to walk to detention with a clipboard around her neck that like said where she was coming from. So like it says like PE on it and like, but that's like the detention board and she has to wear it as a necklace and it's just.
Also, I don't know if you experienced this, but detention I thought was always after school. And
I thought it
like
was too.
During.
It was during school.
And
that seems like a reward, not a punishment.
I know. You don't have to go to class. Okay.
It's like a reward.
Maybe I should get detention more often. Then we see Anna in English class, Mr. Bates' English class, and she gets an F on her paper, we see. He's passing them out, and she goes and she's like, hey, like, can you explain this to me? Like, let me know, like, what I did wrong. And then the only thing we learn is that Mr. Bates,
he's out to get her.
He must be out to get her because he seems to know nothing.
Yeah, like she'll literally be like, this was like the reason, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no.
He's like, no. And also I'm going to quote something that
makes no sense.
That makes no sense and is not even relevant to this paper.
But she does find herself in detention again because she makes a comment about him having no hair. Yeah, and she goes, well, at least he had hair.
That's right. And this time she's bartering with the teacher in detention by, well, not bartering, but she
trade.
There's
a trade, yeah.
She brings a Powerade to her. She's like, you know what? I know which one you like. Here you go.
There you go.
And they kind of cheers their Powerades to each other. So
it's adorable.
Very familiar with detention.
Before we wrap up with this first example of what Anna's school day looks like, it would be just wrong if we didn't mention the Jake of it all. So Anna has this huge crush on Jake, who's a few years older. Maybe he's a senior or something. I'm not sure.
I don't know. He says he works at the school.
Yeah, he works at the school, but also has a job after school. I don't know. Man's making that coin. He's definitely a student though, right?
I don't think he is.
He's not a student?
I don't know that he is. I was going to talk about this later.
Are you sure? He has to be.
Well, so he seems to work as like
I thought he was just like a
teacher's aide.
Yeah, but like you can do that and be a student.
I think he's like maybe freshly graduated is my guess. Because I don't.
No shot.
We see him wandering the hallways during, class hours.
Yeah, but it depends on the, like what your role. Because I, on a very minor scale, did like student aid in junior high. And it was like a period where I was roaming around the halls.
Okay, so maybe he said it was a job though, like he got paid, like which implied he was being paid. I thought he mentioned it like he worked.
He did say that he works there, but I don't know if it's like as a student. In my mind, it's as a student. Let's just leave it as a student, please.
Okay, we can leave it as a student.
Please.
We won't talk about the 16 and 20 of it all.
No, there's no. You're right. Maybe it's freshly graduated, but she's also 15, by the way.
Oh, it was 15 when she filmed? I thought it was 16 when she filmed. Oh,
no. In the movie, she's supposed to be 15.
So Lindsay Lohan, at the time of filming, was actually 16 years old.
Oh, wow.
And Chad Michael Murray was 20 years old.
I think he's supposed to be younger in the movie, though.
Okay.
He could still be a senior, though. And, like, working part, like, you know how some people, like, do a lot of their credits and then, like, their senior year, they only have, like, a few credits that they have to do. And so then they, like, work.
Let's call him a senior.
Let's call him a senior, okay? Because I cannot get into the ethics of that.
And she's obsessed with Jake.
She is
thinks he's
obsessed.
The hottest thing she's ever
He
seen.
rides a motorcycle. He's into music like her. They just have a few cute moments together in this kind of introducing what Anna's life looks like in school. And yeah, the first one I think is when she first gets to school and she's like, oh my gosh, Jake's coming this way. And her friends are like, oh my God, he's totally looking at you. He's totally looking at you. And he's totally not. And then at the end of the school day, he's like, oh, you want to ride on my motorcycle? And she's like, oh my God, my mom would kill me, but I want to. Yeah. And then she gets detention. So, but just the pure, like, he is a dreamboat energy she's giving is.
Yeah, she's never seen a hotter man in her life. I also think it's funny that when she first arrived to school, there was another girl wearing the same shirt as her. So she makes the decision to go ahead and turn her shirt inside out, which it's an embroidered guitar on there. So the back of it is just like crazy stitching. And then also like, you know how sometimes they have that like, I don't know what that, it's like an extra piece of fabric that the stitching is like on to kind of hold the threading together.
Sometimes they do that too, so it's like smoother.
It doesn't rub.
Yeah.
And so that's what you're seeing exposed on the shirt. But I just love that she ended up switching her shirt up in that way. And still Jake was like, wow, cool shirt when they finally get to talk.
Here's the thing though. I'm curious what your thoughts are because in these first couple interactions that we see between Anna and Jake, it seems like he could not be interested less. Like, he kind of talks to her, but he's kind of like, maybe a little flirty, but like, he literally just straight up leaves her after he's like, oh, are you gonna like hop on the back of my motorcycle? And they didn't like finish that conversation. And then she just sees him driving off.
My guess is he saw her getting in trouble with the teacher because she was in the middle of a discussion with the teacher like, that interrupted their conversation.
That's how she...
And he kind of makes his face of like, I'm gonna bounce.
Like, he's like, I'm gonna bounce because I'm 20.
Yeah. He's like, I'm bounce because
I ain't trying to go to jail.
And I'm not supposed to be talking to her anyways.
He's like, ooh, yikes, I'm 25. Oh my gosh.
Well, after we see Anna's day, we get to see a little bit of what a day in the life of Dr. Tess Coleman looks like.
Dr. Tess Coleman.
And what does that look like, Maddie?
Oh, she is a busy woman. She is getting everything done. She's a mom. She works full time. She takes care of the household. She does it all, okay? Dr. Tess Coleman is just who we all should be. But she is so busy that she is rushing to get to her job where she is a therapist and she just is trying to get it all done. And there's this one scene that always sticks out with me, which is like she's not paying attention because she's on her pager, but she's trying to like get to work. And the parking attendant is like yelling at her because she's driving the wrong direction where she's going to blow out her tires. And so he's like, cuidado, cuidado, cuidado.
Yeah.
She blows out her tires and she's like, oh, shoot, okay, now I got to go into the office.
Literally, airbag explodes.
It is so good. Then you see her meeting with one of her neediest patients.
Evan.
Evan is his name.
Which R.I.P. to that actor.
He's deceased?
He plays Mozzie on White Collar, and he's also on Sex and the City.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know he died.
A couple of years ago.
Okay, rest in peace. I had no idea he died. But jumping back to the movie, growing up, and honestly, still to this day, I will never understand why they chose actors who look relatively similar for the teacher and her patient.
Yes.
Because for the longest time, I was like, that's the same man.
Yes.
I thought that was a plot twist of the movie when I was younger.
Yes. The actor that plays the English teacher, Mr. Bates, and then, Tess's neediest client, Evan. The same, like, these men go out for the same roles.
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah.
Very typecast. Well,
Not the way that they act.
Not their acting style.
Yes.
Not the type of characters necessarily, but for looks alone, they are, copy paste.
And it doesn't
slight adjustments.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that the first time we see both of them, they're wearing similar outfits.
Yes.
Like they're wearing like the same kind of like shade.
They should have changed up the glasses or something.
The same kind of like tie. It's insanity. I'm like, what are we doing here?
You're like, wait, the English teacher's here now? Wait, that's not him.
I felt validated in that too because I watched this movie with our mom. And she was like, that's the same guy, right? And I was like, no, Mom, it's not. She literally was like, rewind. It's the same guy. And like trying to take pictures of them to put them side by side.
Doesn't look up IMDb, takes photos.
I know.
She's like, I don't believe this.
The internet's lying to me.
Also, could I just say, in the middle of her busy day, she still finds time to go to the grocery store.
That's exactly what I was going to say. That's why I'm saying she's doing it all. She's super mom. She's has like a full packed schedule with her work, but then also is still going to the grocery store and also planning a wedding at the same time. Like, it's insane. She's amazing. She's an incredible woman, except for she can't pay attention to her daughter.
Because she's so busy.
But her patient, Evan, because I feel like this is just a funny like plot point of the story, is like, he's just so needy. And he's like, but are you going to be available for me to call you on your honeymoon? Like, he's like, don't lie to me. Like, are you going to fire me? Like when he first sits down, he's like, how much time do we have left? And she goes, 55 minutes. Like we just sat down. I also wrote down that I love one of the lines that he says. He's like sitting there and he's like, so my day started out good. I woke up, then I got out of bed or something like that. Then I got up.
I think at that point, that's when we ended up cutting to like Anna's day at school.
Yeah.
And then we're like another the soundtrack continues to be fire.
It's just
the song kicks
so
in and it's like, whoa. And we're in PE getting hit by volleyballs.
Yeah, you just see like how crazy in different ways each of their days are.
Yeah.
And how they're really just like missing what the other person is going through.
Yeah, 100%.
So at this point, Anna's home from school, Tess is coming back from work, and it's time for Anna and her band to practice. They practice in the Coleman's garage. We see another altercation between Anna and her little brother. Because she finds him in her room and she's trying to grab her guitar because she's already running behind for her band practice. And he is just like messing with her guitar and she's like, I'm not having this.
Yeah.
So then she proceeds to staple underwear on her little brother's head.
Just wraps him around. You hear screaming. Her friends, her bandmates are in the garage and they're just hear running in the house and screaming. And then, Anna just walks in with her guitar ready for band practice and they're like, what was that? She's like, don't worry about it. It's taking care of my little brother. Let's jam.
Now let's jam.
And then Pink Slip goes into their iconic song.
Round and round, here we go again. Same old story.
Never ends.
I don't know lyrics.
Fun fact, this is actually a cover. The original was done by an Australian alt punk band called Lash.
Incredible.
And I just thought that was like a fun fact that because to me, I was like, they wrote this song for the movie.
Yeah.
But
I knew it was too good to be true.
But their version is so good.
It's so fun.
And we get to see Anna rocking out for the first time and realizing oh my gosh, she's actually a
God,
really good guitar player.
Good.
And she's got a little solo, but her solo gets cut short because mom gets home and she's seen what she's done to Harry.
She pulls the plug on the whole situation. She turns off. She goes to the breaker, flips the switch, cuts band practice off.
In that moment, the whole band is just deflated because they're trying to take what they're doing very seriously, and they seem to be really good at what they're doing.
Yeah, they do take it seriously. They practice. It appears to be regularly every day after school. So,
and they're getting ready to have an opportunity to finally have their music heard by more people.
Yeah.
There's an audition going on to be a local band at Wango Tango, and they're asking Anna
Big
about
deal.
it. And she's like, you know what? I'll talk to my mom, but I have the rehearsal dinner for her wedding.
Yes.
By the way, her mom's getting married.
By the way, you probably knew this because you've probably seen the movie, but her mom's getting married. And this is the eve of her wedding. So it's the day before the rehearsal dinner. So it's a big day. It's a big day. The next day is the rehearsal dinner. And now Anna's finding out that, they have this big audition. This their first opportunity. Like they may never get a chance like this again.
And it seems like, you're like, well, the mom doesn't seem to understand or take it seriously enough. And the band feels that way. But also I feel like the band needs to give Anna a little more credit because, it is her mom's wedding. But I think we get a little more context later about Anna's take on that.
Yes, this for sure felt like a Reddit post of like, am I the a-hole for not wanting to go to my mom's rehearsal dinner or skipping out for 20 minutes on my mom's rehearsal dinner for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
100%.
So that's definitely a post on Reddit.
And
100%.
what I would have to say to that is like, why can't you do both? And, we'll see what ends up happening. We'll see what happens. We'll get there in a second.
So the chaos ensues because Anna is very displeased that her mom has cut their band practice. But, we got places to go. We got a family dinner to get to. So, but before we move on to that, there's another line that I have to point out because it's something that I quote always. And it's when when Tess gets home, she sees young Harry with the underwear on his head. And so she's like, I got to cut these off. So she's like cutting the underwear off. And then Grandpa comes and he's like, oh, I'm here, blah, blah, blah.
Because, all the family's coming in for the wedding.
And he pulls the underwear off of Harry's head after Tess has cut them. And he goes, what is this? One of them thongs? I don't want to know.
And just tosses it. Just the way that she cut Harry out of these underwears stapled to his head. She cut it into like a stringy looking shape.
But I don't know why that's one of those like things that just lives rent free in my brain where I'm like, one of these thongs? What is this? One of them thongs?
Every morning getting dressed.
Every morning.
What is this?
What is this? One of them thongs? Every time I'm folding laundry, what is this?
One of them thongs. Well, as additional punishment, Anna gets her door taken away. Because privacy is a privilege, Anna. I'm like, she's a 16-year-old girl.
Did you ever get your door taken away?
No. Did you? Was this a real thing people did?
Yes. Mom told me that she thought that she took the door off of one of our rooms.
Really?
Yes. And she thought it was you.
Really?
Yeah.
But we don't have time. We don't have time because we got to get to dinner. So.
And where are we going to dinner, Megan?
All right. We're going to, it seems like a Chinese restaurant that the family frequents because they're very familiar with the people that own it.
Mm-hmm.
And they seem to like, know they're regulars there.
Yeah.
And so it's Tess, it's Anna, it's Harry. It's
Grandpa,
Ryan, who's going to be the new addition.
Fiance.
The craziest part to me about this dinner is, Anna and her mom started to get into an argument because Anna's like brings up that she wants to go to this audition.
Mm-hmm.
And the mom is just like, no, like
how dare you even ask?
Why would you even
so
ask
ridiculous.
me that?
Yeah.
So, the mom is like, okay, things are starting to heat up. She's like, we need to step away from this table.
Yeah.
So the mom looks at Anna and is like, I need to talk to you. And Anna's response is, I think I'm going to pass on that. That always just made me laugh. She's like, no, I think I'm going to pass on that.
I think I'll pass on that.
Yeah. No, thank you. And she's like, no, now. And she's like, she pulls that mom card.
Anna.
She's like, Anna, now. So they stand up and I'm like, it's not much better because you're still arguing in public restaurant. It almost feels worse.
It almost feels like they're putting themselves on a stage.
Yes. Like have the discussion there with your family is almost better, or go outside. But no, they're in the restaurant. They're publicly fighting. And,
throwing hands.
They're throwing hands. No, but they're throwing words. And it seems like the owner of the restaurant notices this and she is inclined to involve herself.
Mm.
Now, this is a part where there's
we
a
have
lot
some
of
questions.
We have some questions, some discussions, okay? Because basically this movie is implying that the old Asian woman who owns this restaurant has some
deals with ancient magic.
Deals with some kind of ancient magic.
We're just going to leave that there. We're just going to leave it there.
But because she apparently just randomly has these
powers?
Question mark? She's able to give these magic cookies.
Fortune cookies.
To mom and daughter. And when they read them, the body swap process is in action. It's going to be taking place.
Yes, which I have a question about this because they're fighting. She gives them the cookies and they're like, okay, fine. And then Anna locks herself in the bathroom, the woman's bathroom, and then Tess is on the other side of the door. Now, do we believe that they really opened the cookies at the same time and read the fortune at the exact same time? And does that have to happen in order for the magic to occur?
For movie purposes, yes. So as they read it, though, an earthquake starts to take place.
Earthquake!
The most bizarre part about this, though, is they get back to the table and they're like, oh my gosh, did you feel that earthquake? And they're like, no. And Grandpa, who's a little hard of hearing, just hears the mention of earthquake and like
starts going, says, earthquake! He's like yelling earthquake and standing up.
He's in the restaurant going, an earthquake.
The fact that he only hears the word and freaks out, it's like, no, sir, you would have felt that. You would have felt that. I'm sure you remember this because I feel like it's a core memory for both of us. But we were at a sleepover at a friend's house. We had the CD and the CD player because we were listening to it earlier that day.
Because bangers on bangers on this album.
Yes. And it was like 2 a.m., 1 a.m. or something like that. And we're all like dead asleep. And all of a sudden, the like
body swap song.
The body swap song starts playing. And it's spooky. It's spooky to wake up to.
Literally all dead asleep, and all of a sudden it's like who's swapping bodies?
Who's swapping bodies right now?
What time is it? Is it midnight? Because that's when they changed over.
Facts. I feel like it was close to midnight. Maybe I'm exaggerating the story, but it makes for a good story. And what I remember too is like, I don't think the CD player was like,
no, it wasn't plugged in.
We
all collectively agreed that we saw it wasn't plugged in, and that was the scariest part of all.
I don't know if it had batteries in it too or something, but like it definitely was not plugged in.
No.
Why are we being haunted? The Teletubby. We're being haunted.
It was that area. Something about it was all in the same area. So,
anyways, okay, I just had to throw that in there because that is a core memory for me.
Yeah, dude, 100%.
I was so traumatized.
100%.
And I couldn't watch the movie after that. Like, because I was afraid of the soundtrack. I was like, we're gonna swap bodies.
Okay, so the swap happens overnight, and I just love the little detail of the way they each sleep. Is how they show the body swap. So Tess, the mom, just sleeps like a little vampire, like on her back, just like, you know, just laying very still. And Anna's like
sleeps like the rest of us.
Out, yeah, on her stomach, just like mouth agape. And when the switch happens at midnight, you see like Anna now sleeping on her back, and Tess now like sprawled out because the switch has officially taken place.
And Grandpa creepily walking around at midnight.
Yeah, they kind of like. You pan over the house and we see Grandpa's awake. He's just wandering. I'm like, Grandpa, what you doing?
Does someone need to help Grandpa back to bed?
I think Grandpa was maybe just getting some late night ice cream.
I was thinking like a warm glass of milk. Seems like an old person thing.
Tess wakes up first in Anna's body. And, you know, she's like, how did I end up in this room?
She's a busy woman. She's running through all the things she's got to do in a day, which I wrote down is me in the morning.
She's like, okay,
6:45. Oh, I got to get up already. Well,
also, it's like the eve before your wedding, too. So it's like,
yes,
your to-do list is probably even more hectic.
She's just running through her to-do list. She's ready to get started.
And she's like, why am I in Anna's room? Did I pass out in here? Like, what happened? And then she starts to realize, wait, that's not my hair. Those aren't my nails. And
that's
then,
not my butt.
First, she grabs her butt. She's like, that's not mine.
That's definitely not mine.
The way, though, she's like, she reasons so quickly with herself. She's like, okay, yeah, I'm in my teenage daughter's bodies. We probably swap bodies. Like, this is...
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Okay, cool. Before she can even have the thought to go check on potentially Anna in her body, her son runs in the room, Harry, and goes, Anna, come here quick. Mom's dead. And then she goes, I'm dead?
So they walk over and it's like the camera is like kind of like shaking with her, like showing her.
It's this angle, like close up of her, like breathing heavy, she's sweating.
Like looking around, like so confused.
Maybe I died and I'm like in my daughter's body now.
Yeah. Instead of saying, oh, like she's breathing or I'm breathing, she goes, it's breathing.
And then she looks to Harry and she's like, she's a teenage daughter still, okay? But she's the mom in the teenage daughter's body. So she hasn't, had a second to even think about this. So she looks to her son and goes, honey, look, it's okay. She's breathing. He's like, honey, like, my sister never would talk to me like this. What is going on? This morning is already so weird. I thought mom was dead.
I woke up, mom's dead. You're calling me honey.
Like, I'm out. Okay.
Peace.
You got this figured out? She's not dead? Cool. So she has to help, like, wake her up. And
we all know from the
how
beginning how difficult it is to wake her up. But then she finally wakes up and she's trying to slowly acclimate her to realize, like, oh, like, you're going to freak out because you're going to see you.
Yeah.
And the way that the daughter in the mom's body goes, get away from me, you clone psycho freak.
It's so
Get away from me, you clone freak.
I was going to save this fun fact for later, but it's kind of, I feel like it's relevant here.
Oh, yeah, lay it on us.
So, first of all, I don't know if you know this, Jamie Lee Curtis was not originally casted to be the mom.
She's so perfect.
So, the original actor dropped out.
Do we know who the original was?
Annette Bening, Annette, something like that. She steps in 4 days before filming.
What a professional.
She's just going off of instinct is what she said. So at one point, like after like, you know, like some of the first couple of days of filming, the editor had a note of like, hey, her performance might be too big. Maybe talk to her about it. And apparently, like after she had conversations with the director, she was like, look, I'm going off of instinct here. Like, this just feels right. If you don't think I'm right for the role, fire me.
I love that because I literally wrote down, like, first of all, I wrote down I could not imagine anyone else doing that role.
No.
Second of all, I was like, she does such a good job.
Yes.
Playing a young, like her mannerisms,
yes.
like everything about it, like is perfect.
It's
because
so good.
It is over the top.
Yes.
Because a teenager is over the top. Like when you're a teenager, like that's how you act.
And also like that's how we were introduced to Anna. Like she was like the stereotypical like over the top angsty teen angst.
Yeah.
And she just like fully committed to that.
It's so good.
It's so funny. Like you said. And she's like looking in the mirror.
She's like, I'm old.
She's like, oh my gosh, I'm old. I look like the crypt keeper. Her delivery of that is like her whole performance. But of that line is like what makes it so
iconic.
Funny and it's so iconic.
Because it's just like so like I feel like we would all like as teenagers like think like that. You're like, I'm so old.
Especially if you were like 15 the day before. Okay, so now we have, you know, Tess and Anna's body, Anna's in Tess's body, and they decide, you know, we're going to continue on with our days. We'll meet back up and make a plan. What we got to do is we got to find these cookies and read what's on them, but also let's go back to the restaurant where we first felt the earthquake.
Yes.
That has to be related to this.
Yeah, we have to figure it out but for now, we just have to live our regular day until we have time to go back to the
Tess
restaurant.
is like, I'm getting married tomorrow. Like, we have to figure this out. And so they each go on with their days. And of course, you know, the mom as Anna is like, hey, don't kiss my husband.
Yeah, don't kiss my future husband.
And she's like,
ew, gross.
Like, why would you say that? We also have to talk about the fact, like, when they first get dressed for the day as each other.
Oh my gosh. Yes. So they dress like they would if they were in their own bodies.
Yes.
So Anna like puts on these like slacks and like a button down, like a blue button down, slicked back hair in a bun. And then we see Jamie Lee Curtis in like a white tank top with a black bra strap sticking out and like black slacks and like a thong hanging out the back. And I think in that same breath, the Jamie Lee Curtis like calls like her son a punk. She's like, what you looking at, punk?
And he's like, what is happening? Why is mom talking to me like this? Why is Anna talking to me like this? And then they come to like, you know, a conclusion that, okay. To get through this day as each other, we have to dress a little more like that person would.
Yes.
So they switch it up. They get in the car. Already you can just see like Tess is sitting at the front, who's actually Anna. And she has her feet on the dashboard like Anna would.
Mm-hmm.
And her fiance's looking over like, what's
going
deal?
on with
Why
you?
She's listening to this music she never listens to.
Like, whatever, dude.
Yeah. She's like talking sassy to him. She's like tapping on her legs, doing a little drum beat to the song. And then you have Anna in the back, who's actually Tess, who's like talking kind of sweet and also reprimanding her mom.
Yeah. She's like, feet down.
She's like, get your feet down. She's like, oh, fine. And like the fiance is just trying to track like what's happening here. He's like, is this some kind of like therapy exercise. Like, I don't know. I'm staying out of it because his whole deal is he's trying to stay out of everything as much as possible because he knows he's like a new addition to the family and he just wants the kids to like him at the end of the day.
The true MVP of the movie.
Honestly, he's holding it down. He's holding it down. And
who is the true MVP? We'll never know, but he's a good guy.
He seems to be. Yeah, he doesn't want to be intrusive of the family unit that they already kind of have going. And we see more of that throughout the movie. So let's go ahead and get into their days and the challenges that they face in each other's bodies.
So we'll start out with Anna, because Anna, who's Tess now, Tess is like, oh, this will be easy. Like, oh my gosh, like high school exams. I got this. Like, Anna's always complaining and like, for why?
Yeah.
And so she gets out of the car and Anna tells her mom, Tess, like, oh, you better be nice to Jake or I'm going to break up with Ryan. So now Anna Tess as Anna, has to navigate dealing with the heart of her daughter and trying to manage this relationship that she doesn't want her daughter in.
Yes. Yes.
So she's kind of cold towards Jake, right? And she's like, all right, I'm going to go throughout my day. It's going to be easy. Meets up with her friends. Her friends are like, oh my gosh, you were talking to Jake. How'd it go? And she's like, I don't ever touch other people, like people of the opposite sex. Like, I am not interested and you girls should follow my suit. I would never like talk to them, touch them or anything. And you guys should do the same.
And they're like, okay, what's going on with you today?
And then we jump into her having her first interaction with Stacy. And she's like, oh, I'll manage this. Like, oh, Stacy, yes, she's such a good person. And she goes, Stacy, hi. Stacy proceeds to pull Anna's shirt over her face and pushes her into a bike rack. Yes. And she goes, what the heck? Like, I'm going to call her mother later.
She was like, that was weird. Like, that's Stacy. Like, she's so sweet, right?
And her friends are like, we'll get her back later. Like, literally don't even worry about that. Like, she's crazy. And then we end up in Mr. Bates' class where Tess as Anna is like, oh shoot, we have a pop quiz, but it's on Hamlet. I got this. So then Mr. Bates calls on her and asks her a question and it's not to his liking. And he says, fail. And she's like, what's up, dude? Like at the end of class, that was like a college level answer.
Yeah.
And he's like, and you're qualified to say that? And then she starts putting the pieces together that this was a guy that she went to high school with that she turned down. So we find out that Mr. Bates actually does have a vendetta against Anna.
It wasn't in her head.
It was not in her head. So she's starting to realize that Anna does kind of have it tough in high school and it's not as easy as it's cracked up to be. Jump to, they have this big exam, which I'm assuming is like a state, state testing or something. And Stacy's like, oh, like, yeah, we can be friends. Like, sit next to me. Accuses Anna of cheating, so then she doesn't get to finish her test. And this is where we have another interaction with Jake, wherein, because I guess that's when we learn he works at the school.
Yeah. Works at the school. He's like, I can help you out.
He's like, I can help you out. So he's flirting a little. He's like,
I know where the test are.
I'll take you to the test. You can finish your test. So she finishes her test and then gets the bright idea that she's going to erase Stacy's exam answers because she has access to all the exam sheets. Then Jake's like, hang on, you're a little too immature for me now.
Yeah. He was like, wait a second, you erased her test answers? You're immature, which is so funny because it's actually, the mom inside the body.
And this is where Jake first sees Anna's mom actually
on TV, which we'll get into her day and how she ended up on TV. Anna as Tess, the first thing that she does is, she peeped her mom's credit card, her platinum card, and she's like, you know what, I'm gonna take this out for a spin because there's all these things that I want to do, like get my cartilage pierced and
get the harlot piercing.
Get the harlot piercing and all these things I want to do. And you know what? I'm gonna use my mom's credit card. I'm gonna give myself a little makeover as my mom. Who knows how long I'm gonna be in this body. Goes on a shopping spree. We love a shopping montage.
So good.
So good. And I think it's playing the What I Like About You. It's a cover version that's a little more like pop punk and it's super fun and upbeat. And she ends up cutting and highlighting her hair.
Which, can we talk about that for 2 seconds? Yeah. the wig that she's wearing in the beginning of the movie. Did you there's this one whenever she's dropping Anna off at school after they switched bodies, it's so bad. You can see that it's a wig. It's coming up and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so...
I did not notice that detail, but I'm not surprised at all.
I was like,
I've seen
oh
some
my
bad
gosh.
wigs in
I was
movies.
like, this wig is horrible.
Oh.
It's a horrible. But anyways, yes, so now she gets a new do.
New do. She has a new fit, a fire dress, by the way.
Oh my gosh, I want this outfit. I try to channel my inner Tess Coleman with this is the closest thing I had. In the boots.
The boots, the
everything.
Sunglasses. And of course, she gets the piercing.
She
gets the piercing done. And she's looking good. She's getting attention. She's walking around. She's vibing. And then her phone rings and she's like, oh my gosh, there's so many phones. There's just so many things
planners,
happening.
the phones, everything.
So then she gets to work and her phone is just ringing off the hook. Evan, her needy client's there. And he's like, oh my gosh, are you going to get that? And she's like, no. He's panicking because,
You're
the
a
day
liar.
before. The day before, she told him, yeah, I'll answer my phone for you on the honeymoon. And he's like, yeah, you're a
liar, so you don't answer your phone.
You lied.
You lied.
And she's like, no. I'm not a liar. Hold on, I'm going to answer the phone. She answers the phone. It's catering for the wedding. The day before, when we saw her in the grocery store, she's on the phone with catering, and she's trying to get a price for halibut. Well, they came back with a price. It's going to be $10,000. Anna decides, as Tess, not even her wedding. She goes, halibut? Ooh, $10,000? She's like,
no, cancel it.
Canceling. I'm not paying for that. And I'm like, you're canceling your mom's catering the day before her wedding. Okay. She was like, you know what? I spent all this money shopping for me today. Actually, we don't need halibut.
We don't need
halibut. We'll figure it out.
I like that the phone call before that, too. The reason she decides she wasn't going to answer the phone is because it's a dentist appointment. And she's like, they're not my teeth.
Oh, yeah. She's like, the dentist is like, hi, I want to confirm your root canal. And she's like, that's not fair. They're not my teeth. She's like, I am not taking that bullet for you, Mom. Sorry. Bye-bye. It's already chaotic. She's saying, okay, Mom's life maybe is a little more hectic than...
Pager's constantly going off.
I gave her credit for.
Calendar or whatever it is. Is it a pager? I don't know.
She's multiple things. She's a pager, Blackberries, multiple phones. She's got a lot going on. And then she has to step into her mom's shoes as a therapist who's not licensed. She's a 15-year-old girl, okay? So she's just doodling on this pad. And the only advice her mom gave to her was to not give advice to the clients.
Yes. Just say, how do you feel about that?
How do you feel about that? So we see her saying that constantly. She's doodling just Jake's name all over. She's just trying to make the hours go by. We see one client who's crying hysterically. You can't even understand. She's mumbling. Yeah. And then you have some client talking about how I feel depressed. And she's like, yeah, well, how do you feel about that?
Depressed.
Are you listening to me? But then we get a mom talking about a teenage daughter. And obviously she doesn't realize she's a teenage daughter in the room. And she's talking about how she's reading her diary because she wants to find out if her daughter is, messing around with this dude and being intimate. And she's like, whoa. Hey. No. Bad mom
award.
Bad mom award. You don't look at her diary. She's like, well, doctor, I want to know. She's like, no.
It's just reprimanding her.
She's coming at it from the perspective, too, of I wouldn't want my diary read. I'm a 15-year-old girl. I have a diary. No.
And she's giving her all this advice about how her best friend's probably upset with her because she probably likes the same guy and she wouldn't be writing about it in her diary if she was actually doing anything. She'd just be out there doing it.
Giving actually good advice from the perspective of a 15-year-old. That was probably the best money spent that day out of all the clients.
And she goes, are we good here? And the mom's like, yeah, I guess. All right, cool.
Okay, cool. So they meet at the restaurant and they don't really learn anything. They're like, yeah. They basically are like, yeah, the cookies were, part of it, but you just got to read them. You are the solution.
Mm-hmm.
Read what the cookie
we can't
says.
help you.
The cookies say at the end, selfless love will turn you back. And they're like, okay, well, selfless love, what does that mean? But, they discover that later. But I think it's so funny that they're outside the restaurant and they're panicking. They're like, it's on us. What are we going to do? And Jamie Lee Curtis just
just breaks down.
Just breaks down because she's a 15-year-old girl in this woman's body.
All the pager things are going off and beeping. And she's like, it's been beeping all day, Mom.
And she just goes, Mommy, and starts crying into her shoulder. And you see this 15-year-old girl who's actually a 40-year-old woman comforting this grown woman. And it's just so funny.
The looks of the extras too walking by, like,
because she's like, Mommy, I'm scared.
Yeah, and they're like, what the frick is going on? I don't want to get married tomorrow. I'm 15.
All the panic is setting in. Like, what are we gonna do? It rests on our shoulders. And like, it's okay. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna read the cookies again when we get home. We're gonna find them, and we'll figure this out. And she's like, okay, just go home for now. I'm gonna go back to school.
Yeah.
So she goes back to school, and so Anna as Tess goes into the house, and her fiance's there, and is like, I have a surprise for you.
Which, do we know what Ryan does, by the way?
I don't think so.
For work?
I don't think so.
Because there's two things. One, that you're about to say, and two, the first one is that he brings her published book in the beginning of the movie. We didn't mention that, but like she recently published a book. And he's the one that's like, oh, I brought you something. Look.
Is he her agent or something?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I think he's her agent.
He must be her agent, I guess, right? So he has a surprise for her, and he blindfolds her.
He literally blindfolds her and surprises her with something that you should not surprise someone with.
She's going to be on local TV talking about her new book.
Yes, being interviewed. And this just seems like something you shouldn't blindfold someone and take them to. Like, it seems like you should be like, hey, you're going to be on TV. You might want to, get ready.
Or, you like what you're wearing.
Come over go over your points or whatever.
Oh, and then you have Anna as Tess, who has not read the book. She doesn't know anything about the book. She doesn't even know how to read the title of the book because it has a word she's never heard of. And frankly, I've never heard of.
Yeah.
Senescence.
Like old people.
It's called Through the Looking Glass, Senescence, something. It's relevant because the only thing you need to know is that she just like takes this TV interview and it's like, okay, senescence, senile, old people.
She's like,
okay, got it. She's like, I think I know the premise of this. And she basically just makes it her point that like, hey, old people, like, you got to loosen up. You got to start having more fun.
Yeah.
Well, she's making good points. But then it's giving like Tom Cruise because she gets up on the chair at some point and is like standing on it. She's like going.
She crowd serves.
She's trying to get everyone in the audience to be pumped up because that's what she knows how to do. She's a performer.
Yeah.
So she's trying to get an audience pumped up. She's like getting them to just yell, woo! And all this is happening on TV. And
at the same time that Anna was retaking her test in the teacher's lounge. And so her and Jake are passing by the TV. And that's when Jake, you see the switch happen. And he instantly is like, wow, your mom's so cool.
He's like, who's that?
And she goes,
awesome.
Oh my gosh, that's my mom. I'm going to like kill her or something.
She's like, she's so grounded.
She's so cool. And you're like, okay, Jake.
Okay, Jake. Yeah, her mom's cool. We get it. Wow.
Why are you smiling like that, boy?
Which, like, so much has happened today. She had a full makeover, shopping. She went to work, and she's on TV.
Busy.
Oh, my gosh. And so she sees that, and she's, like, freaking out. She's like, oh, my gosh, she's literally tanking my career on local TV right now. Like, what is happening?
Incredible.
I'm freaking out. At some point, like, Anna as Tess, it leaves the studio without, like,
telling
with
anyone.
Her fiance or telling anyone. And she also was signing autographs.
There's like a PA or something and who works at the local TV show. And the fiance is like, oh, have you seen Tess? We're ready to go. And he goes, oh, yeah, she left about 15 minutes ago. She's so cool. She signed my butt. And he just pulls down his pants and you see like he signed his butt, this random dude's butt.
Which is so funny. She just went like full like rock star mode in her mom's body.
She really did.
And I think this is so funny. So like the fiance Ryan is like, I don't know what's going on with Tess today. He just like, I guess I'm gonna leave. She left already.
Then we cut back to Tess and we find out that she is at a coffee shop that, surprise, 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 Jake works at. So this is his second job and she runs into him and immediately they start flirting. Immediately he starts flirting with her.
Because he just saw her on TV and he was like, wow, she's so cool.
And
met her earlier once too. But the combination of those two moments.
just smitten. So then it cuts to them just like sitting at the table. I guess he's taking off work, I guess. Taking his break. And they're sitting at a table drinking their coffee. He's like talking about all the bands they like. And he's like, oh my gosh, you're so cool. And she like realizes the time and she's like, oh my gosh, I have to go. Like, it's my rehearsal dinner. Like, I have to be at a rehearsal dinner. And he goes like, oh, who's getting married? And she goes, me. And he's like, you got to be kidding me. Like, no, you can't get married.
You can't get married? I just met you, but
I just met you, but clearly there's something here. And you're just like,
sir.
Also, they're getting uncomfortably close at the coffee table, like at the coffee shop at the table. Like, they're like talking so close to each other. And I'm like.
And they get even closer as they start singing along to the song playing in the restaurant, which is a cover of Baby One More Time. And so,
hit me, baby, one more time.
And they're like, my loneliness is killing me. And so,
also, the extras in this scene as well are staring at them really weird.
I like to give the note. They're like, just everyone take it in that this is odd that they're being
that
this
they're
loud
singing.
and singing in the restaurant. Okay, yeah, and action. And so she ends up catching a ride with Jake on the
back
motorcycle.
of his motorcycle.
And they end up at a red light. And who's next to them at the red light, Maddie?
The fiance, Ryan.
He sees his fiance
with the biggest smile on her face,
with arms wrapped around Jake on the back of a motorcycle, and he's yelling at her. It's like, Tess. They take off. They end up, meeting back at the house later, and he's like, what's going on? Like, are we doing this? Like,
are you trying to live out some fantasy? Like, I need to know because we're getting married tomorrow, and like, I'm not trying to marry you if you're not ready.
Yeah.
And which is fair, Ryan.
So fair.
Which is fair.
So fair. And
we stand with Ryan.
Tess, as Anna, starts overhearing something while, Ryan is having a discussion with Anna as Tess. And she's like, what is that? And it's singing outside. And who's singing outside the window? Jake.
And what is he singing? Hit me, baby, one more time.
I guess he's determined that that's their song now.
Yep.
So he's outside the window just wailing this song and just like.
So poorly. Singing so poorly.
And the delivery's so good. And he's like, I still believe.
When I'm not with you, I lose my mind.
And obviously the context of the song makes this even more funny. But when he delivers a line, hit me, baby, one more. Before he can even finish it, Tess, as Anna, has run down the stairs and is charging for him, tackles him in the bushes. It's like, what are you doing? Like, literally, you're going to ruin my mom's life. Like, my life. Get out of here. Like, get over it. You need to be into someone more your own age, which debatable how old with the age difference is.
We don't really know what's going on there. At this point, I think Jake's 35. So.
She's like, you need to be into someone more your own age.
Kisses him. Which, hypocrisy?
Yeah. She's like, I'm gonna do this for Anna. Like, I'm gonna do this for myself. I'm gonna do this for Anna. Like, I'm kissing him. You gotta get out of here.
And he's not into it.
Nope. He's still all about Tess, who's really Anna. And he becomes so obsessed that, we cut to the rehearsal dinner. And
he shows up.
He ends up showing up there. And he's like,
what's going on with this boy?
I'm still in love with you. But you know who else shows up? Maddie, who else shows up?
Her bandmates. Because you may have forgot, but the big Wango Tango audition is happening. And the other bands blew it, so they actually might have a chance if they can just do this audition. And they need Anna to do her guitar solo to secure that spot.
I guess their plan was to kidnap her, like physically take her by force.
They brought rope and tape and
they were prepared.
They were prepared.
But I think this is actually a really cool moment for the whole family. Because we kind of see Ryan
step up
and be like, hey, like, you should go to this. Like, this is important.
He wasn't aware of the audition.
No, he had no idea that it was going on. And he was like, yeah. And Anna, as Tess, is realizing like, whoa, maybe Ryan's actually like kind of
a cool dude.
And has like, an interest in the things that I'm interested in. Exactly.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's so funny that one of the bandmates, the girl with like the short black hair, she like looks to Ryan and she goes, Mr. Dude. You rock! And I was like, I just love it. She calls him Mr. Dude.
Mr. Dude. See, he doesn't have a last name.
No, he's just Ryan.
Ryan Dude. His last name's Dude. But anyway, so Ryan says you got to go support your daughter. And it's great that he says that because Tess does not know how to play the guitar.
No, and she's in Anna's body. She's freaking out. She's like, the bandmates are like, what's going on? She's like holding a guitar like she's never held one before. And she's like, just like, got her hands like fully wrapped around like the frame of it. And she's just like,
she's
like,
no
I
clue.
don't know what to do. She goes to strum. It sounds terrible. She's panicking. Well, thankfully, Anna showed up in her mom's body because she ends up unplugging the guitar and plugs it into another. I guess she found, it's auditions are going on. You can assume there's other guitars laying around. She plugs it in.
Don't worry about it. Movie magic.
She's like pantomime, Just, I'll play the guitar. You just go out there and rock.
Pretend, yeah.
And the way that Lindsay Lohan's character is dancing, like she embodied like what a mom would dance like. She's like so good. She's rocking side to side. She's like trying to get the audience to wave her hands. And I'm like, this is so good. And they're like still in their like rehearsal, like dinner outfits. So she's like in this black dress, but she like has a moment where she takes like her hair down. So she's rocking out.
And then all of a sudden Jake decides, no, I am in love with Anna again.
He was like, woo, Anna, like you're the one I like.
Anna, you rock. And it's like,
I don't know if anyone should be pursuing a relationship with this Jake character.
No one should. He switched back and forth from Anna and Tess. Flip, flop, snip, snap, snip, snap.
You know what it was? He was connected to the soul of the music. And he knew it was Anna all along.
I think Mans just needs to talk it out with someone.
Got some mommy issues and some other issues. Another fun fact for you. Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan actually learned how to play the guitar for those roles.
I was going to ask you about that.
I guess like Jamie Lee Curtis obviously had like a smaller portion.
Yeah.
But still like knowing that she only got the part 4 days before. And I'm like.
She's incredible.
What?
She's a gem.
How to play like that solo like that quickly?
Incredible.
Incredible. So I thought that was a cool little fun fact that they actually learned how to play.
I was wondering about that because I'm like, I don't know. I know nothing.
Even me, I'm like, I know how to play guitar a little bit. I'm like trying to track. I'm like,
I know. I was like trying to track, and I was like, I really don't know.
I should have asked Cooper. Yeah, I'd be like, watch their hands. Is this real? They said it was real.
They said it's real.
Which, like, it's probably like someone else actually played the part in the recording,
for
and
sure.
They were
but they just learned how the hand movements and stuff. Yeah,
which is still so impressive.
Yes,
if that's just the case. Yeah,
that's incredible.
So the audition goes well, and they're like, it seems like you guys are going to be a shoo-in, and so it's. Selfless love act number 1 done, the mom allowing Anna to like, do that.
Do the audition.
And she realizes like, oh my gosh, like
there's validity in what you're doing.
Yeah. This is actually like really cool. And
Yeah.
it's like a lot of hard work and like going out there on stage is like intimidating. And I realize that now. And like what you do is like really cool and can be really important.
Yeah.
So it's a cool realization for the mom to have. But it's not over yet because
they're back to the rehearsal dinner. And this is where the next selfless act happens, where Tess as Anna has a heart-to-heart with her daughter and is like, hey, like, I think you need to talk to Ryan and just tell him, like, we won't get married tomorrow because we don't know how long this is going to be going on for. And you just need to tell him, like, I love him so much, but, like, we can't get married tomorrow.
She's just like crying.
And they're just crying and having this really sweet moment. And then Anna as Tess decides to give a speech talking about like how difficult it was that they lost their father, but how Ryan has really like shown them and like stepped up and been like a good person for her mom and how much she appreciates like their relationship and appreciates their family and all this heartfelt stuff. And it's just very genuine and a really selfless moment because she's saying, like, I am basically, like, giving you my full blessing to move on with this marriage.
Yeah. It's so sweet.
And it's so sweet. And that's whenever the switch happens again. But this time, everyone feels the earthquake.
Yeah, I was so confused about that. I'm like, okay, so first time no one felt the earthquake, but this time
and it's also like, not midnight.
It's not midnight. It's all irrelevant. They're like, right now the switch is going to happen. So in the room, the switch happens. Earthquake is happening. The music plays again. They like look soulless for a second as their souls
they lose their souls as they're swapping through.
They're just like looking
the
up,
sky.
blank eyes. And then boom, boom, they're back in each other's bodies. Let's party. Like, we're all moving on. And apparently, no one seemed to have a huge reaction after the earthquake.
I mean, the movie is based in LA, so
yeah.
I mean, you have an earthquake, you move on. What are you going to do?
You know what? Fair. No notes. It's a perfect movie still.
Yeah.
And then, we get like Ryan looking over at like Tess, who's now Tess, and is like, you want to explain any of this to me? And she's like, you don't want to know, basically.
Yeah.
Then we cut to the wedding and the reception of the wedding. And to me, this is one of my favorite parts, simply for the song. Anna and her band perform.
And the fits.
The purple
dress
that Anna has on.
I still love.
It's so good.
I used to I was like, oh, I love that fit. And now I'm like, no, I still love that fit. It's everything.
So perfect.
Also, she just decides she's okay with Jake having been in love with her mother and now all of a sudden in love with her.
Yeah, and they're going to kiss again, but for real this time. Which I also read was her first kiss.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. A lot of actors, I feel like, had their first kiss on screen. That happened for like quite a few people. Selena Gomez was like with one of the Sprouse brothers. I know there's like countless others examples, but I guess in the Disney realm.
Wow.
I think maybe even Hilary Duff with Aaron Carter. Disney out here procuring the first kisses for
I mean, what do you do?
Yeah.
I mean, if it was Chad Michael Murray, though. No, I'm just kidding.
But the age difference is so funny. But then it would have been weird if he was also like actually a teenager and had to kiss Jamie Lee Curtis. So it's just like the age gap would have been even more. So it's very interesting.
He doesn't kiss Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, he doesn't, does he?
Because she's engaged.
That's right. Never mind.
In your mind, they kissed in the coffee shop?
Yeah, they were so close to each other.
They had a full makeout session.
Literally, I was like, wait, they didn't? No, he kissed Anna both times, but it was Tess as Anna. That's what it was.
Yes.
The song that plays, The Ultimate You, is such a banger.
It's such a banger. You're the ultimate.
It's automatic.
It's so good. That song still hits. Gives me like the same energy. We talked about this with Angus songs and Perfect Snogging. Just like the your love is ultraviolet.
There are these songs that just
strong.
Like give you such good energy. It's so fun. It makes you want to like sing it from the top of your lungs. You jump around. You're like, this is just it's all the good feels. And that's what we're always chasing after here at the Fuzzy Pod is like those warm fuzzy feelings. And I think the ultimate definitely brings those.
Oh, hits good.
It really does. That's Freaky Friday. In a nutshell, the 2003 Freaky Friday, that is. In my opinion, it's the best. But, that being said, Maddie, after a rewatch, would you say that this movie was just nostalgic or actually good?
I think it was actually good. And the reason I say that, too, is because, like, I did watch it with our mom, and I feel like she was enjoying it as well.
Yeah.
I felt like it was actually enjoyable.
Yeah.
Because, like, you have really talented actors in it. Like, Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan are just talented people.
Yeah.
So it just is a strong movie because they're so good at what they do, in my personal opinion.
Yeah. We add that with the music.
The music's so good, yeah.
The dynamic between the mom and daughter and just like their growth together, which is like really sweet. And all of it's great. The script is great, I thought. Like as far as
the writing was good,
yeah. It was really a lot of lines that were delivered were so funny.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of lines, do you have like a favorite like scene or favorite quote?
I kind of already said some of my favorite quotes, but something we didn't talk about that I wrote down, which I was just like, why are we brushing over Jake being in love with her mom? Is in the scene when it's the hit me baby one more time. He like tells Anna after she kisses him, like Anna, like you look great, but you're not her.
Oh my gosh. Known her for 5 minutes.
And I'm just like, mans, why? Why are we brushing over the fact that he was like professing his love for her mom like 12 hours before? Now they're like macking at her mom's wedding. Like, what? Anyways,
she's like, I will not let that go.
I cannot let it go. But what about you? Any favorite lines?
Okay, so there is like this scene where the mom is at the grocery store and she has her headpiece in and she's like takes a call from a client and she's talking to her client, and while she's delivering this to her earpiece, her eye line is facing towards like the butcher, and like there's a woman sitting there, and she goes, Elizabeth, I just want you to know that you are a smart, strong, independent, beautiful woman, and you don't need a man to complete you. And the woman thinks that she's totally talking to her.
She's making direct eye contact.
And she just starts tearing up and goes, thank you. And then Jamie Lee Curtis is hanging up on the phone. She goes, goodbye.
Yeah.
And just walks away. Blank staring. And the woman, she just changed this woman's life.
This woman's been changed for the better. Oh my gosh, so good. But anyways, thank you guys for hanging out with us today as we recapped one of our favorite childhood movies.
Yes.
We appreciate you guys being here. And if you liked today's episode, don't forget to leave us a rating and review and leave a comment down below too. Let us know some of your favorite moments from Freaky Friday.
Yes, what Maddie said. And we have episodes every single Friday. Can't believe we are already on episode 40. If you haven't caught up, go do that. Check out the playlist. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.